Hi guys, and here's my review of Halloween H2O, basically 20 years later. Yeah, this movie's awesome. It just sucks how bad they messed up after this movie. Because if they ended things here, this would have been perfect. Ugh, Resurrection, man. Just ruined everything. But yeah, the reason why I love this movie so much is mainly because of the third act, because the first and second act is kind of like the setup to the third act. So yeah, it's kind of a bit slow at the beginning, but it all pays off for the ending. Like everything they build up, it's like one of those movies that has a big payoff in the third act because they set up things in the first and second act. Then the third act's just flawless. It definitely has the best final moments of a slasher movie, like ever for me. If I'm not counting Terminator, even though that's kind of a slasher movie, the first one. Because if I was counting that one, that would be the best. But H2O definitely has the best final moments. It's just if things ended here, it would have been perfect. It kind of should have ended here, but yeah. But I'm just going to talk about the beginning first, and then the third act, which I'm mostly looking forward to talking about. Also, I'm just going to mention about his mask. Rewatching this again because I've only watched this. I've watched this movie like twice now, so yeah, watching it again, the mask is pretty good. It's definitely creepy. I don't know if I should say it's the creepiest. I just kind of like what they did with his hair on this one, but the mask itself, it's all right. That's the part where I'm just like, it's okay, but then like I kind of like what they did with his hair, makes him look more mad. So I do like that choice. But yeah, so basically, this is 20 years after the. It's basically set 20 years after the first movie. So yeah, like because Halloween 1 and 2 had the original main character, and then 3 was a completely different story. 4, different characters, but it brought back Michael Myers. 5. See, 4 and 5 is like, well, 4 is like H2O, and then 5 is like Resurrection, where the other movie, like the first movie, is like, when I say the first movie, I mean like Halloween 4 and H2O. Like they're the ones that are just amazing. And then the movie that comes afterwards, which is Halloween 5 and then Halloween Resurrection, they're the examples. Like they're the ones that just completely ruin everything. Ugh. It just sucks that they kind of do that, man. Because 4 is my favorite. Because it has my favorite main characters. It's just, and then like the way how they execute Loomis in the fourth one as well. And then 5, they just ruin everything and make Loomis seem like he's crazy. And then Resurrection. So I'm obviously gonna say spoilers, but yeah, they basically kill off the main character, Laurie Strode. So they basically make that kind of, Nightmare on Elm Street mistake where they kill off the main character, but they just do it in a way where it's not like a sacrifice or anything. It's just a dumb choice. Like, I can't believe I'm gonna have to bring this game up again, but it's kind of like a Last of Us 2 move. With what they did to spoilers, Joel, like where they killed him so early that it even makes sense. And that's what Resurrection did. And continuing off after that epic ending of H2O, which, yeah, I'm just going to talk about the beginning, then I'll get to the third act and just kind of rant about Resurrection. And then that'll be the whole video. BSO. Like I said, it's set 20 years after the first movie. And Laurie Strode, like, she's never been able to get her brother off her mind since in this universe, Michael Myers is her brother. And I guess he's been hunting her down all these years, and he's finally found her. And at this point, Laurie Strode has a son. Also, in the 2018 movie, she has a daughter, but in the original universe, she has a son. And it's kind of got to the point where he's kind of sick of his mum talking about Michael Myers all the time. And it probably got to that kind of point with the daughter in the reboot, Yeah, it's like she kind of trained her as well because yeah, the daughter spent a lot more time with the mother. Well, I'm not exactly sure when she left. I think she was like 18, so the son probably would have did the same thing when he turned 18. But then he actually got to see Michael Myers return compared to the daughter, where he didn't come back for like 40 years because, you know, Michael Myers was in the the asylum for all those years, like he never escaped. Which lucky for the people in that universe, since there was so many deaths in the original universe and all those movies. Yeah. But yeah, back to this movie. Also, I think Laurie Strode is like a principal in this movie, and her son's like one of the students. So she basically works in the school where her son goes to. I can't remember if he's like graduating in this movie because the thing is, the first act, I'm just not fully into the movie yet, but I'm just kind of happy that they brought back the original main character. Even though I prefer the other main character that they had in the fourth movie, but with how things go with her going into the fifth one, yeah. Yeah, I was just happy to see Laurie Strode again at that point, because I think it was in 2018 or 19. I was just like watching these whole movies through, because before I did that, I've only ever seen the first one several times, and then I finally watched all the movies, and then the third and fourth one, like I kind of wish that I watched them much earlier because they're just great movies. Well, the fourth one's like became my favorite over the first one, and the third one, man. I just want to get to the third. So yeah. Let's just speed along. So yeah, basically the son's gonna have a party. Also, she's kind. I mean, the son is basically a similar age that Laurie Strode was, but wasn't she like? I think in real life she was 19, but she was playing a 17-year-old girl. And then like it's kind of the same Halloween night where Michael Myers came after her. So basically, the same thing is being set up for the son, and she doesn't really realize that until like the end of the second act. I think, yeah, I think it was the end of the second act. Also, she kind of has a relationship, Laurie Strode, in this movie, which is cool. She never really got to have a relationship in the previous two movies that she was in, because they even tried to give, the main character in the fourth movie a relationship, but he didn't seem to be that great of a guy. Yeah. The way Harry moved on just because she was babysitting Jamie. But yeah, talk about a different movie. But yeah, she also like Laurie Strode kind of reveals her past to her boyfriend, but he doesn't really realize at first until that she tells the whole story, and she's kind of saying it in the first person, so it's kind of pretty obvious that she's basically Laurie Strode because she's hidden her identity. Like I think she changed her name and everything. So it was probably like harder to for Michael Myers to actually find her, but he eventually did find her somehow. I just wonder how he did it. It did take him 20 years though, so yeah. Since the first and second movie is on the same night, then like 20 years later, this movie happened. But yeah, I just don't know if he has like some kind of. I just don't know how he could have found her because he already has some mystical powers to still be alive after the amount of times that he's been killed from all these characters. I also skipped 5 and 6 anyway. I'm just not gonna review them this year. I'm gonna review them next year. Yeah, I'll just review a lot of the bad movies first, and then I'll get into like average horror movies, and then good ones again, like these, because I just can't talk about any average or bad horror movies right now. I just can't do it. Because average ones, I don't really have much to say. Bad ones, I'll just kind of hate talking about them. It'll basically be like a rant for how much I dislike the movie. So yeah, I'm not really in the mood for that. I just rather talk about movies that I enjoyed watching. Yeah, and this is one of them. Even though like the first and second act is a bit slow, but it's kind of worth it. Kinda completely worth it, since it's the best last 20-30 minutes of a slasher movie for me anyway. It's just so perfect. But I just don't know if there's anything else that I missed, because there is those people who get killed at the beginning, and we do see an actor from Inception and Sin City, but as a kid, I forget his name, so I'm sorry about that. The other way, how they set up the return of Michael Myers in Laurie Strode's life. Like, I think, and we see the first victims, that kid and his mum. So that's already like kind of an alert that he's back, but it's not like they get to Laurie Strode and tell her. Like, she finds out herself. So yeah, that's kind of the. I feel like the beginning's kind of pointless. At least it gave us something until later on, because we don't really get to see Michael Myers until the last 20-30 minutes, taking on Laurie Strode and trying to kill her son and his friends. But yeah, I'll just go to the party part. Yeah, I'm just gonna talk about that part now, just to speed things along. Which is when Michael Myers finally strikes, and he is actually able to kill two or three of the kids. There's like one kid who I don't know if I actually seen his death. But yeah, I'm just gonna talk about the kids anyway. Oh wait, I think I remember now. Wait, because how many are there overall of the kids? There's like four of them, right? You can kind of see the girl there, and then there's the son on the right. And I'm talking about the image on the top left anyway. I think the son likes her, so they kind of hang out. Because they're kind of separate. Because there's four of them, but like they're like separated in two different rooms. Two of them are separated in two different rooms. Well, I think the son is actually with his friend, so it's not like they're together. She's like, seems like she wants food and stuff. Like the way how she acts with food. Lol. I don't want to make a forget that kind of joke I was gonna make. But yeah, well, she's not one of the first victims, but she basically finds a dead body from one of the friends, and then Michael Myers is basically after her, and then she's trying to escape from that the hatch thing, the thing that goes up where the dead body is, one of the dead friends are. And when she's trying to crawl out, her leg gets crushed. Like, man, when I seen that scene, yeah, just when those moments where you want to close your eyes because it kind of feels painful. Yeah. And then Michael Myers just runs. I guess kind of like he runs upstairs because he got upstairs fast, and she couldn't really move that fast anyway because she had to crawl because one of her legs got crushed, and then Michael Myers kills her. But from that noise, because Michael Myers, like after she gets out of the hatch thing, like he cuts the rope and then it smashes and makes a big sound. So if Michael Myers didn't do that, he probably would have been able to kill the son as well and the other friend. Yeah, if it was more stealthier, because that made a huge noise for them to know what's going on. Also, I kind of forgot another character who's in this movie, played by LL Cool J. There's not really much to say of him until like kind of the end, because since he doesn't really, he's not really in the movie that much. Kind of wish he was more. Now that I'm realizing, watching it for the second time, yeah, kind of wish he was in the movie a lot more. Like Busta Rhymes in Resurrection, since in Resurrection, Busta Rhymes is the best part of that movie because the rest of the movie just sucks, and the way how he kicks. So yeah, there is some. Well, I can't even say positive things about Resurrection, but yeah, Busta Rhymes is the best thing about that movie, and the only reason why I'd ever watch that again, and I'd review it. But yeah, that'd probably be the only time I'd say positives of that movie. And I guess they tried to do something different, but yeah, I'll talk about that next year. No. But yeah, seeing Busta Rhymes kick Michael Myers' ass was fun. But yeah, talk about that next year. But yeah, LL Cool J, like he was in this movie, and most of the time when we see him, he's like talking to his girlfriend with these erotic poems he makes or something. If he did even make them or just got them from somewhere, We just see him on his like talking on the phone with his girlfriend. I think it's like some kind of security guard. Because I think, yeah, that is their house, isn't it? Lois Straude's house. Like she has like some kind of mansion or something, and like he's kind of the security guard there. And when things get crazy, that's when he notices that Michael Myers has broke in, because he does realize that someone's broke in, and that's when he goes check out what's going on. Also, at this point, Lois Strode and I guess her boyfriend kind of know what's going on, and like I think her boyfriend has a gun and he actually shoots someone who he thinks is Michael Myers, but it's actually LL Cool J. So in that moment, it looks like he's dead, and then Michael Myers comes out of nowhere and then stabs the boyfriend, and then Laurie Strode just makes sure she gets to the kids and gets them to safety. And in this moment, she could have actually escaped, but we just get one of the coolest moments for a final girl, where instead of running away, she just picks up an axe and just goes straight to Michael, just shouting his name, Michael! Like, that's just so epic. Because you don't normally see that in slasher movies. Because normally the final girl is just trying to hide from the person and survive, but in this movie, Laurie Strode she's just completely ready to take him on. Oh man, it's just that's definitely her best moment in the whole Halloween franchise. It doesn't get better than that, especially with how it ends as well. Yeah. But yeah, at this point, she just basically goes to find Michael. Then he just comes out of nowhere like a ninja, like he just comes up from somewhere and tries to ambush her. I also didn't say the scene where on the right when she first sees him again. Like that was a perfect scene too. When she gets to the son and the other remaining friend, and she closes the door and sees Michael. That's kind of the first time we see them together again. And that was a good scene. But yeah, at the point where I'm talking about, like, the son's already escaped, which he kind of gets injured, but at least he's alive. Because Michael nearly got him, but his not girlfriend, but I mean girl that is a friend, protects him by smashing Michael with a rock. But they escape in that, thanks to the mum. And she's kind of taken on Michael at this point. She definitely puts up a good fight. I think, does she stab Michael with his own knife, or does she use another knife? And the way how she makes him fall off of that, on top of that place, like that was brilliant. And the moment where she gets, in like with the tables, like it's just like she's outsmarting Michael so much in this movie at the end. Because she did fight, like, even though, man, compared to, like, well, because I'm trying to talk about the 2018 movie. I want to talk about the 2018 movie in a way, with how she prepares for things. And then there's this movie, which is 20 years later. Because, big time difference from preparing for Michael. Where she definitely puts up a good fight, man. Damn. Yeah, it kind of gets to the point where it seems like she's defeated Michael Myers, and LL Cool J is actually still alive. He just comes out of nowhere. And I did remember that he survived somehow. I was like, how the hell did he survive? It seems like he got shot in the head. But yeah, he was okay. And then everyone just ends up outside. And it seems like the end of the movie, but Lois Strode, she knows that Michael Myers is going to come back, so she basically jacks a police officer's gun or something. Puts him at gunpoint, and then just gets in the ambulance where Michael Myers is inside, like his dead body, even though he's probably going to come back to life and kill everyone in the hospital. And she just drives it to a lake or something. But then Michael Myers, wakes up, and the thing basically crashes. And then, like, on the scene at at the bottom right, it basically gets to a point like that, and this is probably like the first time they're kind of having like a connection since they're brother and sister, and she kind of nearly falls for that, because that would have been, I feel like that would have been Michael's plan as well. Like, probably would have used that and then grab her, and then I don't know what he would have done. Like, maybe he would have been able to get her weapon or something. But she doesn't really fall for that, and then she just chops his head off. Like, perfect. Perfect ending. I just feel like I should have explained it even better, but yeah, that's the best I can explain it. But all I'm gonna say is just those final 20-30 minutes were perfect. It just doesn't get better than that for me anyway, for slasher movies. Because there's a lot of good endings in slasher movies, but this is like the best for me. For a movie that where, it's kind of slow for the most part. Because if this third act didn't exist, say like some of the things still happened, but it wasn't executed perfectly like this, it would have been an average movie, but at least not bad. I probably would have put it in like Halloween 2 area, but because I'm someone who thinks Halloween 2 is like average. I don't think it's that great from what people say, especially with the random characters they focus on, like the hospital people instead of Laurie Strode and Loomis. Like, they just focus on random hospital people. Maybe people just like the kills in that movie or something. I just don't get why people love the second one so much. This one's way better, and I prefer the first one. Also, the way how Laurie Strode kind of saves two kids again. Well, obviously older, and one of them's her son, but they kind of have a resemblance with that. So there is a lot of connections between the first movie and this one, which is cool. And the way how to deal with that relationship thing that they decided to do from the second movie. It seems like this would have been the perfect ending for it, but resurrection comes and just yeah. It should have just ended here, basically. But yeah, that's my full review on Halloween H2O. I just don't know if I want to talk anything else about Resurrection right now. I'm just not in the mood. So forget that. I don't want to say anything else about that movie. All I can say is that they tried to do something different. It's like kind of a reality show. It just came off really silly. And then the Busta Rhymes part, like, I couldn't take it serious after that. And that's what I'm going to say about that movie for now, until next year. But yeah, that's my whole review on Halloween H2O. 20 years later. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.